Hey folks, it's BJ back on your screen with another edition of my travel around the world discussions. Today we're going to talk about Prague, Czech Republic. So back in 2018, September 2018, I had a business trip to Prague, Czech Republic. I'd never been to that part of Eastern Europe, and I was looking so forward to it. So I flew into Prague and landed. I was picked up in a very nice car and driven over to the hotel. Well, the hotel was right on this main river that flows right through the heart of Prague. Absolutely gorgeous. It was sort of an old world building, crystal chandeliers. The rooms were exquisite. The bathroom was covered in marble from the floor to the ceiling practically. Everything was like over the top. The room itself wasn't huge, but the furnishings were elaborate and the view looked right out over the river. Incredible. Um, so I was there to do a training session as usual. And I met with the clients, did all the pre-meetings. Then over the course of, I think, 3 days, we had several training sessions. They also were doing other things. Again, the work that I did was a small part of these conferences. So I might be on stage for 45 minutes to an hour per day, depending on how the client scheduled my training sessions. Typically, I did 2 to 3 training sessions. So that gave me a lot of time to explore the city. So right across the street from the hotel was this luxury fashion outlet. And at that time, I was really into clothes. Now, not so much. But back then, I was really into clothes. So I went in. Now, keep this in mind. I'm American. I'm 6'2", and at that time I was probably around 230 pounds, 225 pounds. I got inside the store and nothing fit. I was too tall and too big. They had shoes. All the shoes were too small. They had lots of designer clothes. Of course, lots of Italian and French stuff, which is cut very narrow and couture fit. Doesn't fit me. But it was a nice shop. I was in there. Some of the deals were pretty good. And if the stuff fit me, I would have bought some stuff, but it didn't. So I ended up walking around the city. I went on a walk and I ended up in a beautiful garden, and it had sculptures and it talked about the history of Prague, Czech Republic, all the difficulties they had during the different wars and the different civil uprisings. But they were very proud, it seemed, of where they are today in their history. So that was really nice to see. Also, as I was walking, they had these soldiers, these guys dressed as, not soldiers, they were sailors, dressed as sailors, and they were handing out pamphlets, I think for you to take like a boat ride or a tour of some type. Interestingly enough, all of the guys dressed as sailors were black. They were from somewhere in Africa. I didn't really get to find out where in Africa they were from, but that was interesting to see them because this is a very, European city, very Caucasian. I didn't see a lot of other black people besides these guys working in these sort of sailor costumes. And then I went over this infamous bridge with all the beautiful statues and the sculptures, and one is like a big crucifix. It has the Christ and all in the full garb and the just gorgeous. And mind you, as you're looking at these statues, you're standing on this bridge, sort of like an arched bridge, old-fashioned arched bridge, and you're walking across. There are lots of people. There are different people selling artwork and drawings of the city and the sculptures and things like that. Amazing. And then I crossed over. I was into another part of the town across the river, and there was this beautiful old buildings, lots of shops and restaurants, and they were selling lots of different things there, lots of necklaces made of different kinds of stones and things like that, and lots of artwork too. And then they had this clock there, a big clock tower, very tall, and I don't remember all the details on the history of it, but apparently it was a very old clock tower, and I'm talking like centuries old, if I remember correctly, and it had been continuously maintained and upkept over the centuries and decades. Gorgeous. So then I kept walking and I ended up in sort of a residential area. I saw lots of beautiful homes. Everything there's the old school stone, the heavy quarried stone, and just beautiful. And the buildings look substantial. You know, I live in the US, and my house I live in is old. It's made of brick and stone, but in a lot of the newer developments in the States, the houses are made with wood. They call it stick built. So they're literally made with a wooden frame and not a substantial feeling as these old, heavy, stone European buildings. So that was just amazing to see all that. I'm sort of an architecture buff too, and a little bit of a history buff. So whenever I get to go to a place that is really old and has all that history, it's like, wow, look at this. These buildings have been here for 1, 2, 3, 400 years and survived wars and bombings and civil uprisings and all the things that happened throughout, history. The people there were all very friendly and very warm and kind. I had a great time there. And then I came back to the hotel and I had to do some work, and that was interesting. In the meeting room where I was doing one of my training presentations, they typically have a light refreshment table, or at least a beverage table. And they had this beverage table, and it had these little miniature glass bottles of Coca-Cola and Fanta and other things. And here in the States, we've pretty much done away with glass bottles for sodas and juices. Everything is almost nowadays like probably 90+% plastic, which is not great. But there they were using all glass bottles, and pretty cool. I took some pictures of that. And the food was good as well. The hospitality was nice. The people were friendly. I had a good time in Prague. And I really wish I had more time to spend there. I think I was there about 2.5 to 3 days, something like that. Something else I found interesting as I've traveled around the world, and I saw this, I think, for the first time in Prague, was they have exotic and luxury cars for sale in the lobby of the hotel. I first saw this, I believe, in Prague. So you walk into this beautiful hotel. I think it was like a 5-star hotel, gorgeous lobby. And you look to your left. Well, okay, so straight ahead of you is the reception desk. And as you're walking towards the reception desk, you look to your right, you see the elevators. You look to your left, you see brand new Rolls Royces behind glass. I was like, who does this? I'd never seen anything. It was incredible. And it just kind of let you know what kind of hotel it was and who their target guest audience was, right? Interestingly enough, I was in Japan. I'll do an episode on that later. But when I was in Japan, the hotel I stayed in, they had Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and Maseratis and Ferraris. Behind this glass inside the lobby of the hotel as well. And they were all for sale. Very, very different, very interesting. So yeah, if you get a chance, go to Prague. For me, I was there about 2.5 days. I think it's a place that just for the city of Prague, you might want to do 3 to 4 days. A long weekend, let's say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday would probably be great. I'm sure there are other areas in the Czech Republic that you'd want to explore as well. But for me, I was in Prague. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would like to go back there and spend more time exploring and getting to know more about the city and the people. And yeah, so that was my business trip to Prague. It was fantastic. I give it 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend it. The food is good. The people are friendly. The city is gorgeous. And there's some good shopping there, especially if you're on the smaller side. So yeah, that's my trip to Prague. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, like, share, comment, subscribe. In the comments, tell me what you like, what you didn't like, improvements I could make, things like that. If you have suggestions on places you'd like me to talk about, and if I've actually visited those places, throw some comments in the comments box and say, hey, have you been to this place? If so, tell me what your thoughts were about it, and I'll be glad to do that. So until next time, remember that my motto is that self-care is critical and must be ongoing. Self-care is critical and must be ongoing. So until next time, everyone, peace. My name is BJ.